Hey everyone, Doug here, JewelryMonk.com. And I probably never mentioned this before, but did you know there's a Jewelry Monk podcast? Yeah, it's called the Jewelry Monk Podcast. Well, on the latest episode of the Jewelry Monk Podcast, I talked about a new cool tool. So I wanted to make a quick video here so that you could kind of see that, as well as I put a link on the webpage so that people that listen to the podcast can know what I'm talking about. Because podcast, you're talking, it's hard to visualize sometimes. But the tool is not commonly used in the jewelry industry, but it's used actually in plumbing and stuff like that. But it's called a deburring tool. This is what it looks like, and it's got kind of a swivel top. You can kind of see that. This is actually a blade made out of high-speed steel, and it's sharp there. And the way I use it sometimes is, say I'm working on a piece for a bezel, and I've got my bezel where the stone fits in there. I'll take my file, and I file the top of it flat. Well, on the very edge of that bezel, there's some burrs that kind of hang over. So I'll take this deburring tool, and it's got like again, it's kind of a knife edge there, and I'll run it along the inside, and I'll just kind of run it around there. And what it's doing is it's taking off that edge and giving what's called a chamfered edge, or maybe a beveled edge. So it's just shaving off that little edge there, that little burr that's left over from filing, and it just kind of gives it a little bit nicer edge there, so that when I do put the stone in there and I set the stone, the metal that's right up against the stone is nice and smooth and even. And sometimes I'll go in there and polish it, or sand it a little bit as well. Also, say if you're working on a ring and this leading edge here is kind of sharp and uncomfortable to wear, you can take this deburring tool and put it on the inside of that edge and just kind of run around the inside edge there, and you can kind of see it's just, all it's doing is just giving it a little bit of a bevel there, a little, they call it a chamfered edge. I don't like the word chamfered, I like a bevel. So it gives it a little bevel there, and you can kind of see it gives it a nice edge there, just takes off that sharpness, and then you can go in there and file it and sand it a little bit just to smooth it out, and then before polishing. But deburring tools, they're inexpensive. This one I bought, it come with 5 extra blades. There's the brand name of it, and it was 15 bucks. You can get them at a hardware store, you can get it at Amazon. So deburring tools, give them a try. Again, I like bringing new tools that people don't think about that work really well at the bench. They're made for copper tubing, they're made for steel, they're made for plastic, but they work great on gold and silver. Give them a try. JewelryMonk.com, and don't forget, Jewelry Monk Podcast.